Assad regime, but also to other players on the ground, that a red line for us is we start seeing a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized. That would change my calculus. That would change my equation.
Red line. Now, we all remember our commander-in-chief making those remarks during a press conference last August. And now, just over 1 year later, the president is now claiming he never drew a red line regarding Syria's use of chemical weapons. Now, what's worse, he said this in front of a full array of reporters and video cameras, so it was all caught on tape. Take a look.
I didn't set a red line. The world set a red line. The world set a red line when governments representing 98% of the world's population said the use of chemical weapons are abhorrent and passed a treaty forbidding their use even when countries are engaged in war. Congress set a red line when it ratified that treaty.
Classic Obama, never take responsibility, pass the blame on to everyone and everyone. Anyway, here with reaction and much more, the five co-hosts, Andrea Tantaros, Bob Beckel. Did you hear him draw a red line?
Yeah, I mean, I think what he was saying, and not as artful as he should, is that there is a treaty that we are a signatory to, which Syria is not.
No, that's what he said the second time. When he drew a red line a year ago, he drew the red line, right? He wasn't talking about Congress of the world. He drew that red line. It would make a difference for him.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand what he's saying. And yes, it was inartfully done, yes.
Remember when he drew that red line?
I do.
Mitt Romney was rising in the polls. He was dipping.
Yeah.
The president was on foreign policy. So he felt like he needed to flex his muscles and do something. Also at the time, Sean, Netanyahu was drawing red lines. So President Obama's like, I know, I'm good at words, not deeds. I want my own red lines. I'm going to draw a red line. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
and they used chemical weapons before a couple weeks ago, and he did nothing on this. This is a situation of his own making.
We don't know if there were chemical weapons used before. Look, there
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
where's the evidence of it?
Because
yes,
it was, Bob, have you ever read a newspaper? It's all over the place.
Yeah,
the president acknowledged that they were used before, and they chastised them for that.
There was never any conclusive evidence, not the evidence that we have now.
Do you have any? Can you prove it was Assad, not the rebels?
How do you get over 100,000 dead people?
Well,
it didn't happen just a couple weeks. It just didn't happen a couple weeks ago.
No, but it didn't happen.
This has been happening for a while. And by the way, it isn't just the Assad regime. It is Al Qaeda. We know for a fact that Al Nusra has WMD and that they use WMD. And now the Russians detailed 100 pages full of evidence that they used
Now that's
WMD.
What we want to do is take
Al Qaeda did, the rebels
take Putin's idea of intelligence and use that.
Well, he was right about the Tsarnaev brothers.
He's been allied with this thug for a long time. There are 1,200 groups over there who are in the resistance. The people where these missiles were sent with chemical weapons was on top of the Free Syrian Army, which is secular, which is pro-United States, which, by the way, we should have been in helping earlier.
30 months ago. Their numbers,
right.
But their numbers are now dwindling. They have been decimated in the process, and the more likely successor would be the Al-Qaeda-linked Islamic radicals.
So, but the people who say that they did it themselves, to themselves, it's just absolutely, it's crazy. I mean, it defies imagination that anybody would drop a nuclear chemical weapon on themselves.
Of course, they're going to get 72 virgins. If they can get the United States to come in and fight their war, why wouldn't they? In fact, the vacuum was created in Egypt by President Obama when he told Mubarak to step aside, and in Libya as well for Al-Qaeda and the Muslim Brotherhood.
Tell me the benefit. The president has said it's not open-ended, no boots on the ground, days, not weeks, and it's not about regime change, even though that's flipped and flopped and flailed. What good is this going to do, Bob?
Have you two taken a look at the pictures of those 406 dead children?
Yeah, I have.
And I think what it is humanitarian responsibility on our part to do something about it.
What about the 98,600 that died prior to the 1,400?
They did not die by chemical weapons. And there is a treaty that we are a partner to, two of them, by the way, that says that if a state uses chemical weapons against its citizens, that we have a responsibility collectively.
If they kill 100,000 people and murder them, slaughter them, assassinate them, it's okay as long as they don't use chemical weapons. We only have an obligation if they're weapons.
We do not have an obligation to go into a country that's in a civil war and get in the middle of it.
What good is going to happen?
Chemical weapons.
But you didn't answer my question. Not open-ended, no boots on the ground, days, not weeks, not regime change. So they're going to fire missiles in for a couple of days. What good will that do?
How do you know that's what they're going to do?
Because that's what I'm telling you what they said. Those are the words of the administration.
They telegraphed what they're going to do to the world.
If you could degrade his delivery systems, on chemical weapons, then I think that in and of itself would be worthwhile doing.
But
if it saves one more child's life, it's worth doing.
One more child's what? So if that's the criteria, then why didn't we go in 30 months ago, considering thousands of children died in the process and millions are now refugees?
As I said, I thought we should have supplied them a long time ago.
Why isn't the president moving more swiftly? I mean, if John Kerry's going to say this is Hitler 2.0, even though he had a cozy dinner with him and Hillary Clinton said he was a reformer,
right.
Why are they taking their time?
Because you all were screaming for Congress to get into it. They've said they need congressional approval now. Then they said they didn't need it before. And then he says he's going to go anyway. The messages have been all over the place. And it's a little disconcerting at this point, Sean, to have the Democrats lecturing us on WMDs. You saw the footage from Habjala, Iraq. They were the same Democrats that said, don't go in. The intel is incredible. Now we don't have credible intel. We get lectured by Don Rumsfeld, the king of intelligence. Is that right? The guy got us into a war that was a tragic war that didn't work? We interfere in all of these conflicts, particularly Egypt and Libya. And what do we get in return? 4 dead Americans, and the president won't do anything. He won't scramble jets.
Let me ask you a question.
He won't arrest anyone in Al-Qaeda.
Are you still on that subject?
Yes,
let me ask Bob a question. You know, we didn't go into Rwanda. There was a slaughter that took place. We didn't go into the Congo. There was a slaughter that happened there. There's all sorts of slaughters that go on.
I know, but there's a difference here. The distinction is it's chemical weapons. That's the difference. So and that has got 2 international treaties.
Then if that's your standard, then you ought to support me, because I think we ought to take out Iran's nuclear sites before they associate their radicalism.
I don't have any problem with that.
You're with me?
Yeah, I have no problem
Take out Iran's nukes.
Yeah, sure. I mean, to take out the capability to finish one, yeah.
All right.
Well, why don't we just take out the middleman and go right into Iraq?
Well, right into Iran.
Right into Iran.
Because we can't win a ground war in Iran.
Oh, okay.
We don't need the ground war. We need bunker buster bombs and all those facilities, which, by the way, would be a monumental military task as they are spread all throughout the country.
Sean, it takes B-1 bombers to do it, and the Israelis...
They're just going to fire a couple missiles into a donkey's behind.
Oh,
check the
box.
He's President Box Checker.
You know, General, when was the last time you got involved in doing something like that?
All right, we got to roll. Guys, good to see you. I love the 5. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, our first supporter.
And the strongest supporter.
I know.
Love you guys. All right, coming up next, the architect, Karl Rove, is here to weigh in on Obama's handling of the situation.